So you just bought an E34, or you've owned an E34 for a while, and I'd imagine you don't want your E34 to go up in flames, and that is why I recommend you keep watching this video, because I'm going to tell you guys how a $26 part and an hour or so of maintenance will save your car from burning up in flames like this E34 right here. And the reason I showed you guys that E34 is because I actually almost bought that E34. A couple people sent me that car when it popped up for sale. It was semi-local to me. And I actually thought about it. I think it was a 535 5-speed in a nice blue color, but not really this blue. It looked like it was like resprayed blue. But I almost bought it, and I ended up, taking a couple days to buy it, and then I go on Facebook a couple days later, and I see a post saying, hey, I was test driving this car and it went up in flames. And those were the pictures. And that to me was a big wake-up call, owning plenty of E34s in my life and neglecting this because I haven't really thought about it. So I figured I better tend to that on this car, because guess what? The first day I bought this car and I drove it, the blower motor smelled like it was going to catch on fire. All I smelled was like burning plastic, burning leaves. So I immediately shut my blower motor off, and come to find this car nearly burnt down. It was in one of my old videos. I'm going to try to find the clip. Basically, when I went into the cabin air filter slot, there was a ton of leaves packed up in the corner there, and there was some what looked like melted plastic, melted burnt leaves in there. They almost caught on fire. So I'm going to tell you guys what causes that. We're going to replace that, and I'm going to show you guys basically the general process to kind of troubleshoot this and look around this. So, what is the part that we were talking about here? We were talking about the blower motor resistor, which is these things right here. There's only one per car. This is an example of an old burnt one. This is a brand new one. $26 part if you get the VMO like I got. OEM I believe is, or OE I guess, is like 50 or so bucks, a couple more dollars. But in my mind, VMO will be fine. It's pretty much the same thing at the end of the day. So this is what controls the fan speeds on your fan control. So there's 4 speeds on an E34, and you could see there is 3 coils on this thing. So basically how this works is it's an ancient resistor that basically when you go through each speed on your blower motor, it routes the current through a different wire in this resistor. So if this focuses, so you can see there's 3 wires right there. They are all different sizes. There's a thicker one, there's the medium one, and then there's the thinnest one. So pretty much that is fan speed 1, 2, and 3. So when you choose fan speed 1, it sends the current through the thick coil, 2, the less thick coil, and 3, the thinner of the 3 coils. And when you go to fan speed 4, it doesn't utilize these it doesn't utilize these coils. It goes straight through. So that's how you get your biggest fan speed. And over the years, what happens to these is, obviously 30 years go by, they go through heat cycles because these things get hot, and sometimes they break entirely, and that's why your car won't have fan speeds, and other times your car will catch on fire. And you can see right here in this corner, that is burnt. That is a little bit melted. This is from a parts car I had, and basically what will happen is you'll get leaves sucked into your fan through the your climate system, and those leaves will pile up by the cabin air filter. Even if you don't have a cabin air filter, like that car doesn't have one, still an issue. The leaves will pile up, they'll sit right up on this resistor, and I'll show you where this is mounted so you can understand. And basically they'll sit on these hot coils, because these do get warm, and the older they get, the worse they are at heat management, so they get hotter, 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 and that's how they fail. And the leaves will sit up on this, and guess what? The leaves will eventually catch on fire. And then once that happens, it's either too late, you probably don't have a fire extinguisher, you're probably not home, and your E34 is probably going to end up in flames, and there you go, you lost your E34. The reason I say this is one of the most important maintenance items on this car is because, guess what, you can replace an engine, you can replace a diff, you can replace a trans, you can replace body panels, but you cannot replace a car that has burnt to the ground completely. So, for $26 of insurance, you should definitely do this if you haven't done this. So let's get into my 525 here, and I'm going to show you guys kind of the process behind this, how to replace it. So to start, you're not doing yourself any good replacing this if you don't first come over here and change your cabin air filter and clean all the leaves out of it. There will undoubtedly be leaves in the housing. I've already done it on this car. I'm going to try to find the clip where I show you. If not, look it up. You'll find something. I'll try to put pictures. You remove this carpet panel right here. There's a screw right there. You remove your glove box, remove the HVAC ducting right there. You pull out your IHKR, and the cabin air filter slot is right there, going back that way, and it's held in by a Torx and like a little flipper that you flip the switch and it pops out. You pop the cover, you pull out the cabin air filter, you're gonna see a disgusting black cabin air filter. It's supposed to be white. That's the stuff you're breathing when you're driving these, so you're gonna wanna get rid of that. If your car is like mine and it's a pre-92, it will not have a cabin air filter. Everything is still the same, but there's no cabin air filter. So the leaves will still pile up in there, arguably worse, and you still wanna go in there and clean it out. So you replace the cabin air filter. I get a small little vacuum, I shove it in there and I vacuum out all the leaves. If you don't have a vacuum that fits, you could try your hand if you have small hands. Basically, you wanna just get all the leaves out of there. You can use a blower, air compressor, get them out, because that is what will sit on that resistor and burn your car down. So once you do that and you have a clean cabin air filter and a clean HVAC housing, then it's time to replace your blower motor resistor. And you guys should also note, early model cars, meaning I think mid 91, they do not look like this. You have what's called a sword. It's more expensive. It's literally like a long sword. I believe it's in the same spot or it's on the passenger side as well. These are located on the driver's side. My car is an early 91 and it has this style. So I think it's literally like 89 and maybe the earliest of 90 cars have this. So just note that the car, it depends on the car, but watch the rest of this video. I'll show you where this is located. If you don't see this, then you can assure you pretty much have the other one. Now you want to come over into your driver's side, down under here, and you can see there is a carpet panel right there with a screw. You want to take that screw out, pull the carpet panel off, and then up in there is where we will find our resistor. With your panel off, you look right up there, and you can see mine is actually white. The early models came with kind of different colors. The original ones can be any color. There's white, blue, and then there's like the beige like the other one. But that is it right there. You can see there's one plug into it, and then there's two tabs on the side. You click down, pull out the plug, pop the tabs over, and it should pull right out. I'm gonna try to do that and have you guys be able to see it without blocking the camera. You can see all the leaves that just fell out with that. That's how you know that there was leaves up in there. There's literally leaves in this. You can see the leaf right there. And look at that. It's burnt, just like the other one. So now, we pop this out, and easy as that. Now, I'd recommend you vacuum up the leaves that are there just to be safe. It goes in right there. This is the other end of where the cabin air filter is. That's the housing for the cabin air filter. So if you look in from the passenger side this way, you'll see the resistor. But check this thing out. That is how close this car was to a fire. That is all burnt. You could see the heat that's gotten on the coils. You can kind of see the heat color, or the transfer of color there. So it goes from like the standard color, and then you can see where it heated up, the color changes. You see right there, you see how it's got a variety of colors? That's all heat. So this is a white one, we got a brown one, and we got a blue one. Like I said, all different colors. These are all pulled from early models. This is well, this is a replacement. This is a 91. This is from a 92. But at the end of the day, you could just see the uniformness here of what one of these looks like when it's original. Burnt. These are fires right here. These are literally fires. So easy to get out. That literally takes you maybe 5 minutes. Simple as putting this one in. So I'm going to vacuum out the housing there, and then we are going to pop that one back in. Other symptoms of these going bad that's not a fire or smoke is also just your fan speeds don't work. So if your fan only works on speed 4, you can pretty much assume this is bad, because that doesn't involve this. It's a straight current. If some work and some don't, you could probably guess that one of these has burnt out. Usually, I believe, since fan speed 1 is the thickest one, speed 1 and 4 will usually work, and then your 2 and 3 won't work. So if your 2 and 3 don't work, 1 and 4 do, it's also probably this. But aside from just this, it could also be your blower motor. So they kind of go complementary, hand in hand. When you replace this, it's also going to replace your blower motor if you haven't, because your blower motor itself could also catch on fire. It's got a lot of similar kind of current things like this, these old style resistor garbage. It's just an old motor. It's a DC motor, I think it's a DC motor that sits with leaves and stuff, and that's never a good mixture with heat and stuff like that. So while you should replace this, certainly you should also probably do your blower motor. If your blower motor sounds perfectly fine and you replace this, that's better than nothing. But again, I'd recommend doing them both. I still have to order a blower motor for this car. The blower motor's in the engine bay up against the firewall. I have done it on my winter beater series, so you can go way back and watch that. But otherwise, let's get the new one in. You want to hook up your wiring. Now, you just pop it back in. Pop it in until it snaps, and you're done. Literally takes seconds. So there's a new resistor put in place, hooked up. And now, before we put the carpet on, let's make sure we did this right. So it's probably hard to tell on camera because it's really kind of quiet, but I know I need to replace my blower motor because fan 1, pretty much no fan at all. You can hear it, which means my blower motor is so kind of old and crusty that it doesn't even have enough power on speed 1 to spin it. So my blower motor needs to absolutely be replaced. I'm gonna get on that. I'm not gonna run this car with climate until I do that, because that's, again, how you mess up resistors. 2, I have fan, very quiet. You can almost barely hear it. 3, again, quiet, can barely hear it, because this is a weak blower motor. And then 4. So I have all my fan speeds aside from 1, I guess, and that's a blower motor thing, but they're all weak. Like, this is speed 4. Speed 4 should be way more aggressive. Actually, I'll go over the 540 and I'll show you guys. That's how I know this is a bad blower motor. So you can maybe tell on camera, probably not. Speed 4 is much more apparent, much louder, much more airflow. Same with 3, 2. And actually on this car, 1's pretty darn quiet too. So I think speed 1 on these cars is really, at the end of the day, a very slow speed, and it's very minimal airflow, because like there is airflow in both these cars. But I also didn't do the blower motor on this car, so that could just be 2 kind of weak blower motors. Then, when you're done, you head back in and you pop your carpet back in. So there you guys have it for $26, and I would say like 15 minutes of your time. You can ensure that your E34 won't go up in flames like many poor E34s of the past. This is crucial. You must do this when you get one of these cars. I would say this is the first thing you should do, the most important thing you should do. Because if you have a fire in this car, there's nothing you can do. Most of us probably don't carry fire extinguishers, though I recommend you do. I carry it in my turbo car, but at the end of the day, I really should put them all in this. If I'm ever going on a long trip in any of these cars, I will bring the fire extinguisher. It's a very important tool to have in these cars, because they have tons of blower motor issues and electrical stuff like that can happen. They don't have tons, but I'm saying it's very likely to happen. You can see that's three resistors, or that's 2 resistors, both burnt. Every single car I've pulled them out of are usually burnt. Sometimes they get replaced, sometimes they don't, like this. This was an original resistor. That brown one's an original resistor. So it doesn't matter. Low mileage, high mileage, at the end of the day, that's why, low mileage cars are deceiving, because this car, 80,000 miles, that means original resistor usually, and that means you're more likely to have a fire. So you're more likely to have a fire in the lower mileage cars and the higher mileage cars, because a lot of the higher mileage cars I've had have already been replaced. You can just tell by looking at them, they look fine. So I just feel, as a lot of people's source for E34 information and stuff on the internet, I felt it was my duty to make this video, and I can't believe I haven't made it prior. So I hope this video informed you guys of something that is very important to these cars. I hope you enjoyed this video. Nice, short, little informative video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.